Hey everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 and this is FlossTube number 9. So how's everyone doing? Did anyone get any stitching done? I honestly feel like I've got nothing done this week. This past week it was kind of a weird week. We started small groups at church, so Tuesday stitching was cut short. I don't know. I spent some time in here, did some sewing, a little bit of piecing on quilts, ironed some vintage linens, embroidery linens that desperately needed it. So that's kind of what I got done. Not a whole lot of cross stitching, but I'll show you what I got. Tomorrow is my oldest son's 23rd birthday. This is the first time in his life, except for the day he was born, that we are not in the same state. Well, I was in the same state when he was born, but I wasn't there when he was born. But so this is really the first birthday that he's not with us. When he turned 16, he and his dad went to an Oklahoma basketball game, and for the life of me, Oklahoma City Thunder, I think. They went to a game on the 2nd and they were driving back and they hit an ice storm, and they spent 24 hours, the 24 hours of his birthday, sitting on the interstate, bonding with about 300 other cars waiting for the roads to open back up. It was very exciting. I was worried sick, but every now and then they turn the car on and warm it up. He had seat heaters, so they would sit on those and get real warm, and luckily my son had brought a pillow and blanket with him so he could sleep in the back of the truck, in the back seat, not in the bed, but in the back seat of the truck. And so they spent his 16th birthday stranded on the interstate. It was very adventurous. It was very not exciting, probably exciting for him. He was probably, you know, there was a pickup football game on the side of the road in the ice and snow, and but he's not here. He's in Tennessee, so I'm not going to see him for his birthday. You know, part of them growing up and flying out of the nest, I guess. You know, you just deal with these things and you take them as you come, and I might cry a little. I'm going to miss him, but, you know, it's not like he goes days without talking to me. I get at least a text every day from him, even if it's just to ask for something, but most of the time it's just a picture of the dog or something like that. So, you know, anyway, so that's it. So I want to give a shout out to Merritt Crawford. She is another YouTuber. She has got an excellent channel. She's also a quilter, so I enjoy watching her for both of her hobbies. Anyway, she gave me a shout out last week, and so I wanted to return it and say thank you. She is also a fellow Louisianan. She's a Louisiana girl, and she is from the great city of our capital city where LSU is located, Baton Rouge. And so it was kind of neat finding that out about her, and so that was kind of exciting. So I just wanted to give her a shout out. She has a great channel. She does great projects. You know, I love listening to her. So go check her out, Merritt Crawford, YouTube. So, weekend stitch. So I started the I Collect, right here, shiny, by with I Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. And I'm making this as a gift for someone, right here. And I again chose my thrift store floss. Tried to match up the colors just the best I could. They used a lot of specialty floss. In fact, there wasn't even a DMC conversion, so I had to kind of do a DMC conversion and then go with my thrift store flosses, because I don't have any specialty flosses. So this is all I got done. The tomato, the big tomato in the front of the jar, and a spool, part of a spool. I have until the middle of the month to finish it, so I'm going to hopefully try to get some done this weekend. I might work on it starting Friday, and hopefully I'll you know, get it done in time to fully finish it and get it to the recipient when it is due. Like I said, I don't know if they watch this channel. They might figure it out. They might not. I don't know. We'll see. So then, you know, that's my weekend stitch. My weekend stitch is usually something small that I can finish in a weekend or two. And y'all know lately I've been on a Pinker and Pumpkin kick. I've been enjoying her stuff. Well, she came out with this. Look at this little greenhouse. So I need to hurry and finish the I Collect so I can stitch the greenhouse with the little sheep. Look at those sheep, and she's got chickens on the tulips. And I can't wait to stitch it. I can't, I'm excited about this one. When I got the email notification and I saw this, I was like, I'm doing it, I'm stitching it. So I think I'm gonna finish it the same way I finished this one. Like a little mini wall hanging, quilted wall hanging. So now I need to find some green gems, see what I have to go on that. But I think I'm gonna finish it very similar. They're both spring, so that's why I wanna hurry up and finish it so that I can hang it up at least for the rest of March and April and May, and then I can move on to her other houses. So go check out Pinker and Pumpkin. I'll put the link down below for that. And then, okay, so Mondays was my Linen and Threads mystery sow, and I made the difficult decision yesterday on Monday to scrap it. I had sewn the border wrong, and it would have required me to rip out 3/4 of it and re-stitch it. And in order for me to get this month's stitching done, that would have been required, and I was not ready to do it. And honestly, I was not thrilled with the design. It's very, you know, Spanish, Mexican pottery type of thing. That's not my favorite. So I just said, you know, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not going to stitch it. It's going in the scrap pile, and I'll probably cut out the little part that I did do and make a little ornament and call it done. And then I'll pick out the rest when I feel like picking some stuff out, maybe on a long road trip or something. I can just sit there and pick out the bad. They're only half stitches because of the way I do, you know, 9 half, 1 whole, so I don't have to grid. So it is scrapped. So yesterday, instead of working on the new release of the Linen and Thread, sorry, Linen and Thread, I couldn't get into it. I worked on La-Di-Da Freebie Alphabet with hair. Almost done. I'm using this. This is a thrift store floss. I believe it is a Perluster. Maybe Anchor, not sure. Or JP Coats, I should say. And this is what I got done. Last week I had the bottom 2 done. So I did the hair, and I did some of the alphabet, and they're all wonky because, you know, when I finished the N, I finished it up here, so I jumped up and did the K, and then I had to move over, and, you know, random stitching. I don't do things in order. So this is it. It's going to finish out right at about 5x5. So I'm on the hunt for a little 5x5 frame to put it in. But again, this is 20 count Ada, coffee and tea dye by myself, thrift store floss, La-Di-Da. So that was my weekend, my Monday stitch. Did that yesterday. Monday is my day when I'm home alone after the weekend, but my daughter had off of school, and they are doing some work on her apartment at school. And so she was here this weekend, so I didn't get a whole lot done. I probably could have finished it, but, you know, she was sitting down talking to me and showing me things, and so, you know, I just wanted to spend some time with her, so I didn't get a whole lot done. So today is kind of my Monday. Everybody's gone, but, you know, I enjoy spending time with her, and it's neat when she's home. You know, it's not like, you know, she's here all the time, so I want to enjoy the time that I have with her when she is home. So Wednesday Riolis. This is for the Riolis sow. It's on Instagram. It started in January, I believe. Yeah, January. And we show our progress. I believe we're on week 7. We show our progress every Wednesday. So I stitch it on Tuesday. And this is what I do. Not a whole lot. Put this behind it so y'all can see. I just filled in some areas. I got most of his little head done. I just have this little area to finish, and I have this to finish and this to finish, and that'll be a page. So I'll probably move over to the mama and to start her. I'm hoping to start her today, but I don't know. Like I said, Tuesday's cut short now that we have small groups at church, and my husband and I lead one, so I don't do as much stitching on Tuesdays anymore. But anyway, still enjoying it. Still a good stitch. Still fun. They came out with some new ones, which thankfully I am not excited about any of them, so I won't be buying a new one anytime soon. But you know, I kind of like the wool acrylic. So anyway, Wednesday I started a stitch for Lent. I am doing His Name is Jesus by Joyful Expressions, and I'm going to link that below because they have a lot of new ones, and a lot of different ones, I should say. So this last week I did Prince of Peace, and then this week I did Messiah, The Way, and I started up Redeemer, but Wednesday ended. So this is it right here. And you can see my threads, but I just leave them and then I clip them all at once. So this is Prince of Peace by Joyful Expressions, and it's my Lent stitch. I stitch it every Wednesday during Lent, and there you go, Prince of Peace. She has a Christmas one that City Stitcher told me about, and so I am going to go check that out because it's in the shape of the tree, but it's the Christmas story. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one out because I really think I want to do that. If I don't finish that one, I'll do it for Advent, and then I might, if I do finish it, then I'll do the Christmas one for Advent. Okay, on to Pandemic, and I finally started the big plant in the center. Nope, I don't have my paper. I thought I had my paper. Anyway, so I started the big plant in the center. I got the deer, this half deer done. Started the plant, and for the flowers I'm using bits of leftovers from different parts of the chart that I just kind of had in little baggies, so that I can cross those numbers off of my DMC chart. So this is Pandemic, and you know, I want to stitch what I enjoy. I don't want anything to be a burden. That's why I quit doing the linen and things, because I just wasn't enjoying it at all. So Pandemic, I am still enjoying. It's something about choosing the colors as I go along. It's kind of like coloring, but not really, because you know, you're not filling in any squares or anything, but you know, just choosing them as I go along, figuring out what I want to do. I'm enjoying it. It's going to take me a while. You know, there's some women on the Pandemic group that have finished this like in 3 months. That must be all they stitch, you know, 10 hours a day they stitch. I don't. I have other things that I want to do, but there it is, Pandemic. Hopefully, next week, I doubt it because I'm going to stitch on I Collect on Friday, so this is a Thursday, Friday stitch. I'll be able to take it out of the snaps and show y'all the whole thing. Hopefully. Pandemic. Right there. That's all I stitch. I mean, it's a lot for me because, like I said, normally I am a stitch one thing at a time, monogamous stitcher. And this year I decided to add some things because I will be turning 52 in May. And so it is my goal to have 52 finishes by the end of the year. That's why I'm stitching a lot of smalls, a lot of weekend stitches, things I'm hoping to finish. I don't know if I'll reach 52, but that is my goal. So that's what I want to have, 52 smalls, or finishes, I should say. So we'll see. We'll see if I reach that. I have a bit of a haul, and one of them is an announcement. Y'all remember my little tarts that I got at Goodwill? I was looking for something to put in them, and I made my decision, and I chose Hands On Design Perennial Pinwheels right here. I like the 3 different sizes and the 3 different designs. I probably will eventually get the other ones. Hold on. excuse me, excuse my head. I probably will eventually get the holiday hoopalas. I do like them. They're cute. I do like the different months and everything. So I'll probably end up getting these, but this is what I decided on. And I figured there's some smalls. They'll fit into my 52 finishes, hopefully, for the year. And so that is what I decided. And it was the biggest, I'm sorry, but it was the biggest bang for my buck right here. I'm not gonna lie, that had, you know, it was an influencing factor. Because I am in Stitch from Stash. I have a lot of fabric, I have a lot of thread, I have a lot of older magazines, but I don't have a lot of patterns. I guess, you know, the magazines could be considered patterns, but this was my choice. Hands-on design, well-rounded, perennial pinwheels. They won. And then with that, I ordered a 32 count light blue Lugana. I'm thinking about stitching Joyeux Noël on this. Joyeux Noël is something I'm going to start. I mentioned it last week on my mother's birthday, which is March 19th. She loved the 12 Days of Christmas and she loved blue. So I'm thinking about stitching this on here, but I have to do a floss toss and see how the gray will pick up on this. If not, I don't want to do white. So I might end up dyeing something a little bit lighter blue, or maybe, I don't know. But I don't want to do white. I have it on white, and pandemic's making me tired of stitching on white, really, honestly, it is. And it gets so dirty, and I'm just, I don't want to do white. So I think I'm going to do this. I've stitched on Lugana before. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't tell if it's something I'm going to be able to see, but we'll figure it out. I might do a couple of test stitches and see how I do on it. If not, I'll probably get myself a 20 count Aida and dye it myself. So, and if you haven't checked out Mama Loves You GB, Michelle, you need to go check out her dyeing with the Dynaflow dyes. I bought some. They're in my living room, so just believe me when I say that I bought some. But I want to try that. I want to try dyeing with that because it looked super, super easy. Not as complicated as Rit dye. I have Rit dye, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. These Dynaflow fabrics, it just looked so easy. I mean, and so quick. Like, you know right away what color you're getting. You know. So my husband and I went to, we had to go downtown for something. And so I said, hey, since we're downtown, you want to take me to that thrift store? And he's like, yeah, I'll take you. I said, I got some emails to answer, so I'll just sit in the car and answer some emails. Sorry about that. So we went, and I walked around, and it was very busy on a Friday afternoon. Usually I go, you know, on a Saturday morning, and there's nobody there. I'm the only person. This was a lot of people there, and there's one guy, bless his heart. You know, he's one of those guys that he's with his girlfriend. The whole time she's in there. And I can want to look at her and say, honey, let the man sit in the car. You know, don't force him to be with you. Mine's in the car, you know, answering emails. And so, you know, it's not a big store, and it's sectioned off, like, you know, all of the sewing and stitching and fabric is all in one little area, all the wood's in one area, the paper stuff's in one area. Well, this little stitching area has a shelf that kind of makes it a little room, and they have stuff everywhere. I mean, you really have to enjoy digging to enjoy this kind of store, to enjoy this particular store. No organization whatsoever. Like, I can leave something somewhere and come back the next week and it's still there. So, but I love it. I love the store. So he's just standing there in the middle of this little, probably 5-foot roomette in this store on his phone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that. Blocking the way. And I just want to get back to the cross stitch stuff where they have all the stitching stuff. Eventually, his girlfriend got the hint. They moved. I went where I wanted. So anyway, so I was digging through their floss box, and I got me some more DMC. And this little girl was like, oh, they're only $10. I was like, bless you. So not as good. I mean, better than the Joann sale. So I was excited. And then I picked up these, this Whisper floss. This was 50 cents. And I picked up Treasure Braid, I believe. This. It's shiny, sparkly-ish. And I picked up this other red Treasure Braid right here. They were 50 cents. And I don't know why I bought this, because I have a ton of silk ribbon from when my mom and I had our store. But it was 25 cents, and it was purple, so I bought it. And I bought this right here, 28 count even weave, right here, in white. It was $2.25. I figured it wasn't a bad deal. It is 20 by 27, so it's a decent size, you know. So I got that. I'm venturing into even weave, y'all. Maybe. I've done a couple of little projects on even weave, so. And then I bought me some more rickrack, and this was opened, and they were 25 cents each. I bought red, and actually around one little cord were these 4 colors wrapped. So I bought me some more rickrack for my finishes, and I made these little cards, and I organized. Well, I'll tell you about these later. Hold up. So then I rounded the corner. I was still in that little area, but there was kind of like a little shelf that was set back with all the yarn, which I have enough yarn. I don't need any more yarn. But on top of the shelf, behind some cones of crochet cotton, was this bad boy. He was marked at $4.50, and he had the most horrendous blue, I think it's called homespun yarn. It's that bumpy, I can't crochet with it. So I picked him up. Isn't it beautiful? So I unwrapped all the yarn off, put it in a little ball, and put it in my bag to donate back to the store. So I bought me another one, and I showed my husband, and he's like, how many of those things are you gonna get? I said, honestly, I said, this, you know, I got the 2 small ones that are red. I'll probably keep this one. And then I said, but they had these, and they were 3 for $10. So I do want to maybe do something like this with these, you know, where I would hang it up like this. Most likely, not sure, but I figured I can do something sweet with these. But I thought they were just so neat. So I do know that at one time we had several Fruit of the Loom mills in this area. So I don't know if that's where these came from. I don't know if, you know, why they're just now, I'm probably just now noticing them. They've probably, I know I've pointed them out to my husband at antique stores. Oh, you know what these are? These are, you know, from the mills that were, you know, they held thread, they're giant bobbins. But so there we go. So unless my little store comes up with some more, these will probably be the last that I buy, because, you know, like I said, we don't have a whole lot of display space, because I do have a lot of stuff that I inherited that I display that I love immensely. So I don't see myself replacing anything like that. So it's finding a place to put it. So anyway, so that is my haul this week. I collect vintage linens. My goal is to one day, sorry, everything's falling. My goal is to one day make a quilt with them. I've been collecting them for a couple of years, would find them at Goodwills and whatnot, especially when we lived in Tennessee. And so here's some of them. I spent the weekend ironing them right here. And I know it seems such a shame to cut them up, but honestly, I don't see the trend of having dresser scarves coming back anytime soon. There's a few that are in really, really great shape, and there's also, I have a ton that my mom's cousin Faye gave to me. That's family pieces that I will probably do something special with. These are things that I picked up, you know, 25 cents, 50 cents. I think the most I ever paid for anything was $2, except for the vintage tablecloths, which I paid more for that. So I want to start a quilt with them. So I spent the weekend ironing them, and I also collect vintage sheets, which there's some right there. Most of them are in a closet. And what I would do when I get the sheets is I would take them, and a lot of the sheets, the top part, there was always some decorative trim. And because of the way I was making my vintage quilts that I was making, I would take that trim off and then roll it up in a little ball and stick it in a jar and move on to the actual cutting of the fabric. So I made these little cards And look at this. Isn't he just, I mean, aren't these chickens just so cute? I backed these cards, you know, they were single layer, and I put 2 layers, and I used a die that I got on AliExpress about 2 years ago. I think I paid like $1.50 for it, and I started cutting them, and I started wrapping them. See the little linens? So these are some things that I want to use in my finishes. You know, the houses by Pinker and Pumpkin. There's a couple other things that I want to do that I want to use these for, just because I need to use them, you know, and it's the whole Stitch from Stash that I'm doing. I have a ton of this green, and I think the reason why is I seem to remember when I bought these sheets, it came with, it was king size, flat, and 2 pillowcases, and I think I picked some others up, you know, here and there. And then there's this. I need to get my pins out and pin them. There's this sweet trim that when I was washing something, it had a red handkerchief that just bled all over it. So I think I'm going to try to dye it with a Dynaflow dye. You know, I tried to get the color out and it wouldn't come out. So, and here's another piece of that. Some precious tatting. And then this sweet trim. So that's what I did. I was organizing all this. So that's why I didn't do a whole lot of stitching, because I was doing these cards, and I did the, you know, I was wrapping the rick-rack and whatnot around it. So I didn't get a whole lot of stitching done, but I feel like I got some organizing done when it came to my trims and whatnot. I still have a ton more that I need to wrap up and organize, but it's a start, and I can access them a little bit easier than them being shoved in a jar and me having to dump the whole jar out and whatnot. I also got this. I didn't, it was hidden in my, see if you can, whoopsie. See if you can, if that'll focus on that. It's a little cameo earring. It was in their jar of single earrings. I need to clean it up, but it's a screw type earring right there. And so I'm gonna clean that up and use it on one of my finishes. So that's the thing right there. So that's it for stitching. That's all I've done. So for a little while, for the next couple of minutes, if you don't like quilting, or if you're not interested in my quilting, I won't be offended. You can leave. But I was back in the 90s when I started quilting. I fell in love with Aunt Grace fabrics, and they were 1930s reproduction feed sack prints by Judy Rothermill. And my mom and I had our business, and I fell in love with them. They're not my colors at all. My colors when I dress are pretty much, you know, navy blue, black, gray, and the occasional purple and gold, or red and white, or school colors, wherever my kids are going. But I fell in love with these fabrics. There's just something about the vintagey feel. In fact, I used it on the Dorothy May's Spring House print. The bottom was a 1930s reproduction fabric. So I put out a call out on my one of my quilting boards, and somebody said, check out Lori Holt. You know, she's got some great stuff, you know, using 1930s reproductions. Her fabrics kind of lean toward the reproduction. So I went and I found this tutorial that she did for these 2 scrap blocks. They're kind of log cabinish, but you know, just a little bit more scrappy and not as 2-colored. They don't have the 2 colors like most log cabinets have. So this is them right here, and I decided to make it. And I've been listening to audiobooks while I sew, and I was listening to Lisa Turkhurst. And if you've not heard her story, she is a speaker. She's a Bible speaker, and she went through a really, really hard time in her life, in her marriage, and so she wrote a book called It's Not Supposed to Be This Way, and that's what I've been listening to. And so while she was reading her book, she was talking about how she had taken up painting, you know, right after this hard time, when she was struggling and going through this hard time. Her mom made her take up painting, and she said she realized that, you know, artists make lots of mistakes in their paintings. We don't see them because generally when we look at a piece of art, we see the art and we see the grand design of things. And I'm pretty good at fudging things, like when I cross stitch and even when I quilt, I'm pretty good at fudging things because I know that I'm not entering a contest. I'm not looking for awards. I'm usually just making something because I enjoy the process. And that's kind of what she was getting at, was that we need to look at ourselves and we need to look at what we do and we need to show ourselves some grace and realize that we're going to make mistakes. There's going to be flaws, and we just need to say, you know what, that's who I am. You know, if they're correctable flaws, you know, yes. But, you know, if my nose is crooked, I mean, I can go do surgery, but I'm not going to because it's the way God made me. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. I need to lose weight. That's something I can do. I need to accept me for who God made me. But point being, she was talking about artist. So while I was doing this block, I stitched it wrong while listening to her. If you look at this one right here, it is more the log cabin. You know, stitch, stitch, no, stitch, 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 stitch. And I did mine more like courthouse steps, where you do side, side, top, bottom. So then I said, I looked at it and I was like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this. I was so disappointed in myself. And it's while she's talking about this, you know, how artists make mistakes, but in the grand scheme of things, we don't notice them. And I was like, you know what? I said, I made this quilt block. I'm making it because I love the fabric. I'm making it because I like the design. It's not I don't do real, you know, I don't do applique. I can't do applique. I've tried. I don't do real complicated. Mainly, I make the quilts because I want to give them to somebody because I think they're pretty. I think they're beautiful. Well, this one was for me. And I was like, you know what? Nobody's going to notice. If anybody notices and they're going to sit there and get up close to it and nitpick every little mistake I made, then I probably don't need them in my life if they're going to nitpick my quilts. I know people who do, and these are not quilters, so I'm like, you know. So I just decided to roll with it, and I continued making it, because there was a time in my life when I would have looked at this and said, you know what, scrap the whole project. I quit. I would have put them in the box with all of my rest of my 1930s fabrics, and I would have said, I'm done. And I probably never would have picked it up again. I probably would have made something else. But this time I said, no, I'm going to keep going. So I cut more center squares, and I will be working on this. I like to sit in my sewing room when my husband plays golf because he's not home, and so I just kind of go hide out in my sewing room. So I'm going to make more. I'm not going to let the mistake of 2 blocks, because I did 2 of them wrong, determine whether or not I finish a quilt. And I think that's kind of something that, you know, I've had to, in my 51 years of life, I've had to learn that I will make mistakes. There will be problems. There will be flaws in my life. You know, my daughter decided that she was going to bleach her hair, and she used a couple of different methods she found on YouTube, and now she has very, very short hair because she had to cut off all the damage. You know, it'll grow back, but it's something she realized, hey, this is a flaw. This is something that I did to myself, and I'm going to change it, but I'm going to live with it. And she embraces it. I mean, she embraces her short hair. And I think that's just something that it's like, you know, in my stitching, in my quilting, in everything that I do, I've learned to embrace the flaws. Those that I can change, I change. Those that don't really matter if I change them or not, I just decide if it's a priority, and ripping all this out and re-sewing it was not a priority in my life. It wasn't something that I felt like I needed to do. So just remember that in your stitching, because there are times that I put the wrong color and it's close enough to the color it's supposed to be, or it's not really going to affect the overall design. So I move on. I keep it there. I don't rip out the whole thing. There are times, like in the linen and threads sew-along, that I have said, I don't like it. I don't want to finish it. I'm not ripping it out. I'm putting it away to work on more important things. It wasn't a gift for anybody. It wasn't something I had to do. So, and there are times you have to let go. You have to say, nope, not finishing you. You're not worthy of my time and stress level. So there's my little talk. I don't know if my rambling made any sense, but embrace the flaws that are not important. Learn to let go of the things that you can't change, or embrace them. Some things I can't change about myself. I cannot change the fact that I have brown eyes. I can wear colored contacts, but it's not changing that. But I have brown eyes. Some things you can change, some you can't. Embrace what's important to change. Change it, and embrace the flaws that nobody's going to notice. Because honestly, I don't think anybody will notice. I think once I show you the finished quilt, you're going to be like, I can't even see those blocks. Because it's a scrappy quilt. Well, anyway. So I need to get to stitching. I need to work on Riolas and try to finish that up so that I can at least feel like I have a progress from last week. Finish that page maybe. We'll see. And y'all have a great day, and thank you so much for joining me today, and I appreciate each of you. Bye-bye.